Hey there, guys, and welcome to another week of World War II, and on to number 72, January 11th, 1941. Fighting far away from home, Allied advance in Africa. Got nothing else to say. Let's dive right in.
No, just a coffee. That's all I want is just a coffee. Wait, sand. What does sand have? What does sand have to do?
Huh?
So I can't get a coffee.
I'm so
Because of
confused
sand.
on these intros.
Yeah, okay. January 11th, 1941. Germany has let Italy have a free hand in the Mediterranean so far this war, but no longer, for Italian setbacks have seriously concerned Adolf Hitler. This week, the Germans attack.
Dun dun dun! How's he attacking? Is he going through Yugoslavia and Bulgaria?
I'm Indy Nidell.
Is it just
This
through
is
Bulgaria?
World War II. Last week, RAF and Luftwaffe bombs fell on each other's countries. British and Commonwealth forces attacked Bardia in North Africa, and the Greek army made ready to advance towards Italian-held Klissura Pass in Albania. That advance happens this week. This is a major strategic point. The Greek counterattack in November and December had taken lots of territory, but it dangerously extended supply lines and caused logistical issues. And this pass could very much help Greece secure its gains. The Greek Second Corps leads the attacks, and after 4 days of fierce fighting, the Greek infantry manages to take the pass. The Italian armor features the new M13 medium tanks, but Greek artillery makes pretty short work of a number of them. Italy launches immediate counterattacks that include the Giulia and Lupi di Toscana divisions. But since those attacks are so hastily prepared, they not only fail, but the Greeks really maul the Lupi di Toscana troops, who are new arrivals from Italy, and they secure their hold on Klissura Pass.
Let's go, Greece!
This is a pretty big victory for the Greeks, though, and taking Klissura Pass also certainly helps with the Greek plan to capture Valona and leave the Italians with just one Albanian port for reinforcements. That advance is not the only one continuing this week. British and Commonwealth forces do not pause to regroup after taking Bardia the 5th, and even during the fighting there, they are working to cut off Tobruk, the next North African goal. This they have accomplished by the 8th. Two Australian brigades, the 16th and the 19th, have come up to the south and east of Tobruk, while the 4th Armored Brigade and the 7th Armored Division Support Group have cut the western routes from the town. You may think the Italian Air Force would do something against these maneuvers, but they've lost their base at El Adem and are in disarray. Tobruk is not just a stepping stone along the advance, but is a major goal. See, taking it would mean no longer relying on the overland supply and communications route from Alexandria, nearly 700 kilometers away. The port of Tobruk would mean a much easier marine supply route. But until they can take control of the port, they will have the same supply problems they've always had. Currently, they're supplied by field supply depots, FSDs. They have one train on the coast and one on the escarpment, like 80 kilometers from it. These not only have to provide for the army's daily needs, but also the build-up for the attack on Tobruk, and also for the time when the port is being made operational, assuming the Italians sabotage it. That is a lot of supplies, and an increase in the road traffic required for it, and constant sandstorms make logistics a nightmare. Getting close to Tobruk also means outrunning FSDs 8 and 9, so now 10 and 11 are being formed some 60 kilometers east of Tobruk. If that sounds convenient, well, David Braddock writes about the FSD situation in Britain's desert war in Egypt and Libya. Until this time, the leapfrogging of FSDs, so that a division always had one within reach, had been very successful. But the system was now beginning to fail in items which the troops could do without for a time, but for which a steady flow was essential if the fighting power and efficiency of the army was to be maintained. A fundamental difficulty lay in the problem of relating the bulk dispatch of supplies from Alexandria to the needs of changing tactical situations. Sollum remained as the only effective seahead, but road convoys from Matruh were still especially needed in emergencies. And on different occasions, 120,000 gallons of fuel and 16,000 rations had to be driven 200 miles, that's 320 kilometers, up to the army in the desert. The 7th Armored Division is now down to around 70 cruisers and a bit under twice that light tanks. And that has to be a real big concern for Field Commander Richard O'Connor, especially planning ahead, because if and when Tobruk falls, that armor is going to have to lead the next advance to Derna and Meshili, assuming that armor is still operational. And another possible wrinkle for the future, on the 11th, Adolf Hitler issues Directive 22 to relieve Benito Mussolini.
He's learning how to count.
And the Italian forces. German troops will be sent to Tripoli.
Uh-oh.
German aircraft will wreak havoc on the British from Sicily, and German forces would even be ready to move into Albania should they be required to help an Italian offensive. But the British are about to launch yet another offensive of their own, actually, one in East Africa. Okay, it's more of a counteroffensive, and the first blows are to come from Sudan. William Platt is promoted to Lieutenant General January 7th, and he has been given 2 overall objectives by Archie Wavell. 1, to simply secure Sudan, but also to remove the threat to maritime supply routes. Now, they are vital not just in East Africa, but also in the Western Desert. Until the Red Sea can be guaranteed safe, the U.S. will not allow its merchant ships to use that route. And once they can and do use it, then British shipping would be free elsewhere. Platt, from his Khartoum headquarters, considers Kassala, the scene of a bunch of fighting in 1940, his target. Terrain and weather are going to be major issues in this region. The 4th Indian Division, which saw plenty of action a few weeks ago at Sidi Barani, has been transferred to Platt. So he will have 2 Indian divisions, the 5th as well, a company of infantry tanks and a battery of howitzers. So he'll be able to field around 15,000 troops. The 4th is arriving by 2 routes, the Red Sea and the Nile. On the 7th, part of that force arrives at Port Sudan. The rest is soon to come. But while there's no fighting there yet, there is this week far to the east, where tensions have been building for a while. On the 5th, full-scale fighting breaks out between the Chinese Communist New 4th Army and the Chinese Nationalist 40th Division and continues.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
Continues for days. Each side blames the other for hostilities. Shang Ying is the overall commander of the communist forces, with General Yi Ting under him. But he is nowhere to be found for much of this week, turning up on the 10th and telling party headquarters that he had been surrounded and was trying to find a way out with a small party of men. Headquarters calls him a coward. However, even with him back, the nationalists have the advantage, and the communist forces take some 9,000 casualties. Tensions also flare into violence to the southwest this week. On the 5th, after a report that French Indo-Chinese forces had attacked the Thai border town Aranyapratet, 2 of the 4 Thai armies, the Barafa and Isan, attack Laos and Cambodia, which are French protectorates. Thai forces overrun the border regions in Laos pretty quickly, brushing aside opposition. But the French offer stiffer resistance in Cambodia, and the fighting continues as the Thai forces do not advance too far beyond the border. Germany is also beginning something this week. On the 10th, German planes attack an Allied Mediterranean shipping convoy. Among other actions, they damage the British carrier Illustrious. This is the first German action in the Mediterranean, which shows that the Luftwaffe must now be reckoned with in the region. The Illustrious is pretty much the Axis top naval target since its role in the Battle of Taranto 2 months ago had given the British Mediterranean...
God, aircraft carriers are so fucking big, dude. God damn.
Naval supremacy. The Luftwaffe has even been running mock attacks on it to prepare for the real thing. So now, with Italian SM-79s drawing away the Illustrious planes, around 10 Stuka dive bombers attack the carrier unopposed, scoring 6 hits. The Illustrious heads for harbor in Malta, having taken some pretty heavy damage and 126 crew killed. Thing is, British military intel had told the Air Ministry of the Luftwaffe's presence on Sicily last week, but they did not tell the Admiralty. And if they had, then that whole convoy operation, Operation Excess, would likely not have sailed within range of the dive bombers. They fly again on the 11th at the end of the week and damage the light cruiser Southampton so badly that it is scuttled. The engineers at the Grand Harbor in Malta work to repair the Illustrious. The British will withdraw their heavy naval units from the central Mediterranean based on what the enemy's land-based aircraft can accomplish. Malta's agony is just beginning as well. Also in the skies this week, In Britain on the 11th, 57 people are killed and 69 injured when a bomb drops just outside the Bank of England, destroying the tube station below and creating a 120-foot wide crater. Sources
That's
do
big.
differ slightly on the exact number of people killed. And here are two notes to end the week. On the 10th, the Lend-Lease Act is introduced in Congress in the United States. This aims to circumvent the restrictions on and problems with selling military supplies to Britain by lending or leasing them instead. Also on the 10th, the German-Soviet Border and Commercial Agreement is signed. This is sort of a continuation of their 1939 pact and settles some border issues and provides for economic relations between the two. And the week ends with the Greeks getting a good foothold in Albania, the British planning for one in North Africa and another in East Africa, infighting in China, French and Thai forces fighting in Laos and Cambodia, and action in the Mediterranean that may have large, long-term strategic effects. Also this week, on the 6th, American President Franklin Roosevelt speaks of the 4 essential freedoms on which the future should be founded: freedom of speech and expression, freedom to worship God, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Translated into world terms, means a worldwide reduction of armaments to such a point and in such a thorough fashion that no nation will be in a position to commit an act of physical aggression against any neighbor anywhere in the world. He adds that a world like that would be the very antithesis of the so-called new order of tyranny which the dictators seek to create with the crash of the bomb. But here's my prediction for the near future here in 1941.
That is here.
Any attempt, no matter how idealistic, to try and bring forth such a world will involve the crash of a great many bombs.
Yeah.
More and more of them, and ever bigger and bigger. And while there are bombs falling on a...
And that was week 72 of World War II. January 11th, 1941. Fighting far away from home. Allied advance in Africa. Another week of really nothing to fucking add. Oh, I hate it. I love these episodes because there is stuff happening, and it is interesting, but none of it is anything that we can really, add on to in, I feel, a meaningful way, at least that I am educated on. I mean, I don't really, I'm not a World War II scholar. That's not what I pursued. But yeah, it was still a good week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.